All right, so we're on to March 6th. All right, we're translating among graphs, tables, and equations. All right, so each one of these, there's specific things that need to be shown here. Okay, so we're writing an equation from these tables. Okay, so you need to start the equations with y equals. Okay, so what are we doing to the x to get to the y? Well, we're going from 0 to 6, 3 to 9, 6 to 12, 9 to 15, 12 to 18. Okay. I really hope that you have attempted this before you're watching this. Okay. So what we got here is I want you to show me what you're doing. You can write it in here. You could write it over in a column over here. All right. Something like that as well. So 0 plus 6 is 6. We're looking for a consistent relationship here if we're going to be able to write an equation. All right. So clearly x plus 6 equals y, right? So y equals x plus 6. Okay. Next one. Again, I don't want you just to go through and copy. I want you to have, once you get something, once I explain it, if you're stuck on it, then stop and do it and then watch my full explanation afterwards. Okay. So certainly use this when you need to, but you need to really kind of see if you are figuring things out on your own. So write the equation that matches the table. Bananas are x, so you're x over here, y over here. X is to the left, y is on the right. Okay, so we need to show what are we doing to get from the x to the y. Okay, now, what you got to remember here is we don't know probably what we do to get from the x to the y. So times what? We don't know. Okay, so the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So to find what we multiply by, we need to find the other factor by dividing 2 into 250. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2. Bring down the 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, so that's going to be $1.25. Okay, so 2 times 125 is 150, right? Then 3 times 125 is 375. 5 times 125 would be 625. And then 7 times 125 is 875. All right. So the equation here is going to be y equals the dollars, right? 1.25 times whatever the x is. Okay. So the cost of bananas, y, is equal to $1.25 per pound times the number of pounds. So at this rate, the cost of 1.5 pounds of bananas, you need the decimal multiplication on your paper or whatever you're turning in. So we get 1875. So 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the problem. So 3 in the answer. Okay, American money, though we have 2 decimal places. So the 5 tells the 7 to go up to 8. So it's not $1.87. It's $1.88. Okay. All right. Next one. On the problem below, remember the left is the x and the right is the y. Key to this question is figure out what to do to the x to get to the y. Okay, so we got x, y. What do we do? Will 10, is it minus 5? No, because the next one will be minus 10, then minus 15. So we could think of this one of two ways. You could say times it's half, times 1/2, or you could say divided by 2. Right? So therefore, the y's are half of the x's, right? So that could be y equals 1/2 x, or it could be y equals x divided by 2. Okay, which is answer B. Okay, next one. We're looking for the equation here. So notice that this is x, y like this. Money is pretty much going to be the y unless someone tells you otherwise, which they shouldn't. So the y's are what to all the x's. Okay, so here, this is 4 times 9 times 9 times 9. So all the y's are 9 times all the x's. So the hours times 9 equals the earnings. At this rate, what will the earnings be for 3.75 hours? So what you're doing effectively here is you're taking the y equals 9x, and for the x, you're filling in 3.75, like we've done substitution, right? So now you're going to do 3.75 times 9. So that's 67, 27, 33. Okay. So that would be $33.75. Okay. And then number 5, there's 6 on here. This one's a little bit tough. Okay. So write a ratio of pay per weed. So like the dollars per weed. Okay. So like this is Y, that's X. Okay. So the dollars per weed here, I'm going to just pick one. You could pick another one. So I'm going to pick, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to pick $1 for 40 weeds. Okay. That would work. All right. Now, use the equivalent ratios to find the pay per weed. So use any one of these. Okay. I would probably use the smallest one here, all right, because it'll be easier to divide. So I'm going to use this one. So it's $0.25 for 10 weeds. So divide by 10, right? Divide by 10, right? So any number divided by itself is 1. That's what we did on the bottom. What you do on the bottom, you do on the top, okay? So we're going to do 0.25 divided by 10. Top dog goes in the doghouse, so this one goes inside. 0.25, okay? 10 doesn't go into 2. 10 goes into 25 twice with a remainder of 5. Put another 0 on there, and then 10 times 5 is 50. Okay, so the pay per weed is going to be 0.025. Here, you could say 3 cents per weed, but I would actually say being more exact is better here, right? Because it's such a small amount, 0.025. So 2.5 cents per weed, basically. All right. So the equation here, reason I got you to get this unit rate here, right, for one weed is that's what it's times for each one of these. So this is times 0.025. Each one of those is times 0.025, right? If you did each one of those, that would be what it's times. So that means that the equation is y, the dollars earned, is equal to 0.025 cents per weed times the number of weeds. Okay, so notice here, X is the number of weeds. So 0.025 cents per weed, right, times the number of weeds tells you how much was earned pulling weeds. All right, now back to an easier one here. All right, I drove 60 miles per hour. What is, let's go ahead and make the table showing how far I go in 1, 2, 5, and 7.5 hours. So in 1 hour, I go 60 miles, just times 60. So that's times 60, right? So like this. Okay, times 60. That's 300. Okay, and then times 60 here. Now, you can't do the 7.5 in your head, more than likely, and it is a decimal standard here. So we're not going to skip showing the work. Okay, 1 decimal place in the problem, so 1 in the answer. So that is 450 miles. Now write the equation for the situation. Well, what are we doing to all the x's to get to all the y's? We're doing times 60. So all of the y's are 60 times all of the x's. Okay, so make sure you got all the work that I said needed to be shown here to get full credit, and turn that in.